So these are the 6 must-have elements, okay, in your system. You must have this. You must have this. You must. Everyone say must in the chat. You must have this. Foundations of what you need to have a sales system that converts is firstly your offer. Your offer is everything. From your offer, then you need to have a content system, you need to have an audience growth system, and then above all of that, then you have your sales system. So your sales system, very simply, ladies, is just literally the activity, the step-by-step activities that you need to actually get sales, to turn cold traffic into money in your bank, right? Right, that's the fundamentals, right? The cold traffic into money in your bank. The 6 must-have elements. I'm gonna talk you through them very briefly, and then we're gonna go into more detail over the coming weeks. Okay. So basically, first element that you must have in your sales system is you must, number 1, be able to interrupt your viewers' attention. Interrupt your viewers' attention. What do I mean? So there's something called interruption marketing and permission marketing. Interruption marketing is like Facebook ads. You're scrolling and you're not on Facebook to really buy. You're just scrolling and scrolling along, and then you see an ad and it's interrupting your thought process, and then whatever, that's an interruption advert. Okay. Permission marketing is like Google searching, right? You have an intention, or SEO marketing. You want them to find you based on their activity. So they are searching for a solution, and then they go on Google and they see, oh, right, I'm looking for window cleaners in Sutton, whatever, right? And so I'm searching for window cleaners in Sutton, and hey, presto, I have a list of people that come up. That's permission marketing. Now I am going to their realm to opt in, right? So what you want to do with interruption marketing, you want to interrupt viewers' attention, so i.e. grab their attention, but you want to then lead them to permission marketing. So you have to interrupt them and then lead them to opt into something of value. So for example, I might be in another Facebook group, right? And I put out something out there that will interrupt someone's attention, that might grab their attention. And from then on, I might, from there, say, from that, what I put out there, for example, I put something interesting happening in my Facebook group, something interesting of value that I think they will like is happening in my Facebook group. And then they now opt in from there to come into my Facebook group, right? So now they're in my realm. So you must interrupt people and then bring them to a place where they now opt in because they said, yes, I want to hear from you more. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. So some of us, what we do instead is maybe we're just kind of posting and not really paying attention to people that are actually coming into our own space, whether it's your Facebook profile, whether it's your email list. You have to bring them somewhere with your Facebook group. You have to interrupt people outside of your space and bring them inside your space, okay? So interrupt viewers' attention is number 1. Then you have to impart wisdom, valuable wisdom. So impart valuable wisdom. So hear me, not just give content, not just even give value, but you want to create an experience when someone comes into your presence. For example, as I say this, because we are kingdom women, we have the Holy Spirit in us. So whatever you are teaching or training or putting out there, you want to, even if it's just one person's life, you want to put out content that is an impartation of wisdom, an impartation of transformation that will cause transformation to that life. This is just free content here, not just any old type of content. Oh, let me just be visible. That has its place, but to actually get clients in your sales system, you must impart wisdom and do it based on that one outcome that your offer promises it delivers. Makes sense, right? Does that make sense, ladies? Okay. Impart wisdom. Yes, Maureen, thank you for that. On the one, please add to that, on the one outcome. Some people may not know exactly what you do because the messaging is a bit all over the place. So you want to make sure that the content that you have is not just content that will be of interest, but it will actually impart something that will transform them. Okay, makes sense, right? They'll give them something. So, and if I layer it back again, this is where people begin to like you. So the first one, interrupt, viewers' attention. That is them knowing who you are. So you want people to know who you are. So you interrupt their train of thought. And then you impart wisdom to them. Now they begin to like you. So they're cold traffic. So let's use a scenario here. I go to someone else's Facebook group. I say, hey, I'm sharing my 12 biblical laws of financial success in my Facebook group. You interested? For example, right? So because I know my client avatar is interested in those kind of things, I'm going out there and I'm letting them know I have something interested in my own space. They come to my space, they've opted in, permission marked in, and they've come into my space. And so now I am imparting wisdom that will transform their life, value, based on the one outcome that I deliver in my promise, right? So that's number 2. And now through that impartation, they are kind of hopefully liking a bit of what I'm saying. Does it make sense? The next thing is to impress. Okay, so you want to then impress with your results. And so another example would be like, obviously on your lead magnet, I've been talking about lead magnets lately. You want to, that's a sales system on its own. You want to showcase in that your success, your client's success, your process, your system, or something that will impress them. That'll be like, oh, right, she's done a lot of things like that. That's great. Or client results that you've had. You must impress with results. Yes, thank you for doing that, right? Because that now builds the trust factor, okay? So impressing them builds the trust factor. So that's on any sales system that you have. These elements must be included. So for example, you all know in a landing page for any type of opt-in, there'll be testimonials. There'll be something in that system or funnel to say that, oh yeah, this is a worthy person. It's a given. So social media proof is the summary here. Then you want to initiate conversation. Especially for your high ticket offer, I always say that if you have a high ticket offer in the thousands, then you must bring them closer to your own space and bring them onto a value call, a call that will again impart, give them value, give them something. So you want to initiate conversation, one-to-one conversation. You can do that in a live launch through your challenge or whatever, but then I would recommend that you even from that bring them onto a one-to-one conversation. Conversations sell services. So you initiate. And then 5, so you've got interrupt viewers' attention, impart valuable wisdom, impress with your results or client results and your expertise, initiate conversation. So whatever your system is, you have to initiate conversation and bring them into your space. So invite them. Then you invite them onto your program if they're a good fit. If they're a good fit for your offer, not everyone's going to be a good fit. So the conversation will let you qualify leads and say, actually, in this conversation I've had, this person is or is not a lead for me or a good potential prospect for me. You will know by the conversation you have, okay? So then if they are, then you invite them into your program. There's a whole, obviously I'm touching the surface because there's so much in all of these parts to it, but generally speaking, when you feel that there's a good fit, you invite them to your program for that one outcome and you speak confidently about your program to them, okay? Last but not least is then you inquire. Now, this is important. Inquire means carry out an inquiry following their response. Okay, now what do I mean? I mean it in both ways, not just a follow-up. No. You want to inquire and find out whether they said yes or no, why. Okay, we miss this out a lot. Why? They said yes to your offer. Great, fantastic. Find out why. Find out what made them say yes to the offer. Because when you find out yes, you can rinse and repeat, okay? They said no to your offer. Fine. Find out why. And the thing is, what you must do in your inquiry is you must get a response. A lot of us, what we do sometimes is that on a sales call, we may say, oh, you know what, they say to you, oh, I'll get back to you about it. And then you're like, yeah, I used to do it before myself. Yeah, that's fine. But you have to insist or you have to request or dictate a time that, they're going to get back to you. So, okay, great. Today's Tuesday. If I send you a message on Thursday morning, would that be fine? So you can let me know, what you're going to do? Simple as that. Before, I never used to get a response. I never used to get a reason why. If they say no, I'm saying to my coaching program that sometimes no's is not a no is not a real no. It's a I don't understand, or I need a little bit of tweaking somewhere. So if someone says no to you on a sales call, it doesn't always mean no. You have to find out why they're saying no. So when you find out why they're saying no, then it might be something as simple as like maybe they just don't fully understand the program so much. Maybe you haven't explained it that well. Maybe you need to layer it back again. Maybe they just need flexibility on the payment plan, or they need a payment plan if you don't offer one. Just find out why. Because sometimes, a lot of the times actually, you can turn no's to yeses when someone has said no. So you have to inquire. That's the last one. Okay, one of the key ones I want to say though, is to get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you get to 5 and 6, you've already sold them. So when you've initiated conversation with them, because you've imparted wisdom, that particular point there is actually selling them. So in your content, if you address objections in your content, and you can do this in your sales system, in your sales funnel, you address objections beforehand. So think through, here's a little tip before I go. Think through objections. What are objections people have to your program? Think about it. Write them down. Then address them in your content. And in your content, make sure that is a key part of your sales system. So for example, a practical example would be in your lead magnet. For example, the way I teach lead magnets is that you're intentionally building in your story or elements in there to be able to address objections before they get on the, when they get on the call with you, they are actually already sold. They actually just want more information on your program or just kind of the details of it. So you create a system whereby you're not having to then sell really, you're just having to have a conversation to close the call. And that's the power of sales systems. The power of sales system is to actually create a system whereby, there's not much effort after you built this system in. Okay, so this is it, ladies. This is what I have for you today. Do you have any questions? So one of the objections that Maureen gets is that people say that they're okay, they don't need to talk it through, they have got it, it's enough. I understand that. Right. Okay, so you need to show an example, a case study of some sort, right, inside your system, in your content, right? And you need to then, through that, say, for example, right, you may be in the place where you feel like you don't need someone to speak to. That's actually addressing it straight off the back, Maureen. Does that make sense? And then you say, I had a client at whatever it might be. Use an example. Hopefully you have an example or something along the lines whereby they initially thought that, or maybe yourself, maybe you growing up in the church. There was a time in your life where you thought and ladies, if you haven't got a client example, use yourself, right? So there was a time in your life where you felt like, I didn't need to talk to anyone. There was a taboo in the church about counseling, or a taboo in the church about having, counseling or talking things through, especially as a minister of the gospel, right? But, you were led to do X, Y, and Z, and you did it, and it completely transformed and changed your life. An example, okay? So, right, Maureen. So you must build that into your content. You see where I'm going? You build objections into your content. Build it in. Right, guys, this is pro tip. If you're listening here live, I'm giving you a big pro tip in content creation. There are loads of content stuff out there that doesn't cut it, I'm afraid. When you're doing content that converts, this is part of it. Addressing objections in your content, and specifically in your sales system. So what I mean by that is, for example, very strategically, Maureen, I tell you. So if, for example, you decide to, you could do that example in your lead magnet, for example. You could put it in if you look at my lead magnet, you could see that there's like a background story. You could add that maybe into a story of yours, or put it somewhere in your lead magnet, part of your system. Then you could put it in, if you're doing a live launch or a challenge, part of your examples. You tell people what they're thinking. Does that make sense? So Maureen, let me know if that makes sense. That's a really good tip for you to take away on that one, lady. So that you build it into your system. So when I talk about imparting wisdom and impressing, what you're doing, ladies, is you are talking to their subconscious minds, right? You want to really talk to their subconscious mind. So you have to bring this out. Ladies, trust me, write down your objections. People that have your programs, give scenarios and examples why that objection does not stand, right? So for example, you might say, people might say to your program, I haven't got enough time, or I've got kids, maybe whatever it might be, whatever it might be, I haven't got enough time to do this program, whatever. And you might use yourself as an example and say, you know what, I was going through this, I was struggling through this, but even though I had all these things happening, I still pushed on and did it, and I got this XY fantastic results, okay? Based on me pushing through. So subconsciously, you're addressing objections in your content already. Does that make sense? So that's the way you kind of do it. I'm kind of giving you this is good juice, ladies. Good juice. Right, so that's it, ladies. That's all I'm gonna share for today. Again, if you do need support with your sales systems, if you do want to, you're not quite sure where you are with your business, you're not quite sure if you have the structure of your sales systems in place, you're not quite sure if you are actually creating a flow, a system that makes sense to attract your dream client, then let me know. I'm offering some free calls this week and next week to just help you look through those things and help you to see a few tips, about 20 minutes or so, a few tips and help you. So if that's you, just send me a DM. My desire is to impart some wisdom, okay? So as you've left this, and I'm back to number 2, right? So as I leave, I've done my job. And the beauty of this, ladies, is this is part of what I call service. When I talk about Christ-centered marketing, it's about serving. So whether or not anyone becomes a client or not, who is live on this program today, you've done your job by sowing something, not just general wishy-washy content, but something that can actually take away and use that will transform their business. Okay, it's a part of transforming someone's life. So I want to encourage you, use me as an example. And when you are going live, when you are giving content, to impart wisdom, impart valuable wisdom that will transform lives, even in that short 20-minute whatever session it is. Okay, so again, I'm so happy, Maureen. Ladies, thank you for joining me live. I really appreciate it. If you're coming on the replay, put #replay, let me know. And if you would love to have a quick chat regarding your sales system, message me and just say sales systems. Send me a DM and say sales systems, and we'll have a chat and see where you are in your business, and I can help you through there as well. All right, take care, ladies.